Asheville is the definition of the unexpected. So today I would like to talk about some of the misconceptions that I receive from homebuyers when moving to Western North Carolina. Number one, mountain views are everywhere. And boy, do I wish that were true. Mountain views are everywhere if you're driving around the valley in your car. You can see beautiful mountains from any place in Western North Carolina. However, we're talking about that rare and very limited $1 million view. So when we talk about $1 million view, that means that you're going to have to go up the mountain. The further that you go up, that means that the ability to have a flat yard is going to be almost impossible. Also, the request for a level, easily accessible driveway is going to be virtually impossible. Our mountains and our topography just are not shaped that way. So as you go up, you will have a curvy mountain road and you will probably have a fairly steep driveway, but the payoff is going to be absolutely breathtaking the day that you see your very first sunset. Also, the reason that we can't drive all the way to the top of the mountain and build on a ridgeline is because we have a ridgeline ordinance in place. And that is to preserve the mountain landscape so that developers are not coming in and chopping off the tops of the mountains and ruining the skyline. So it's all just to preserve our natural beauty here. Number two, do I really need a four-wheel drive? Well, if you want that mountain home with that $1 million view, you're going to need to get there. So, especially in the wintertime, roads here used to be logging roads, so they're actually fairly narrow. They usually are cut into the side of the mountain and are about 1 lane to 1.5 lanes, which requires some jiggy jogging back and forth whenever you're encountering oncoming traffic. And especially in the wintertime, while we may not get feet of snow, we do get some ice and it can be a little blustery. So a four-wheel drive, while it's not mandatory, it's definitely recommended, especially if you're going to live up higher in the mountains in order to achieve that view. Now, if you are in Asheville proper, it is not necessarily a requirement. You can drive whatever car that you choose, as roads are fairly well plowed whenever we have inclement weather. However, we are Southerners, and a couple inches of snow is going to get this town every time. So just keep that in mind. And number three, the weather here is always nice. While we do have 4 beautiful seasons in North Carolina, which is a huge tourism draw, those most popular seasons being the spring and the fall, we do have summer and winter here can be a little grueling. So spring brings the beautiful flowers, but it does bring a lot of rain. In the fall, we have a huge influx of tourism for everyone looking at the gorgeous leaf colors. But in the summer, temperatures can range in the low 90s and we get pretty high humidity here. It is, after all, the South. And in the winter, it does snow. But those of you that are wanting those lovely $1 million mountain views, that means you're going up in elevation. So while the rest of us in the city proper are hanging in probably the low 40s throughout the majority of the winter months, the higher you go up in the mountains, you're going to experience microclimates that could get into the negatives with a lot more snow and freezing wells where you need to wrap your pipes, and it can be a fairly bone-chilling cold. So keep that in mind when searching for homes. Number 4, cell reception and internet service. We are definitely in the digital age and everyone is working from home. And I don't know anyone who has an actual landline anymore. So we are all on our cell phones. And while that's great and convenient, cell service, even in the direct city limits of Asheville, it can be spotty. There are several dead zones and you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. When you're in the mountains, if a cell tower is not within clear visibility, service is going to cut out. People should understand, just call them back. As far as the internet goes, fiber optics is only available within the city proper. You can get internet service out in the rural areas. However, if you're really looking for that striking farm property that's pretty far out in the country, satellite service is going to be your friend. And the next on my list is that jobs here are plentiful and easy to find. Jobs here are plentiful if you are in the hospitality and tourism industry. So all of bartenders, servers, chefs, tour guides, any restaurateur, Anybody in the hotel industry, those jobs are all very easy and in high demand here in the area, with the two main employers being the Biltmore Estate and the Grove Park Inn. Most everyone else who works in other professions, they do work for major corporations remotely, and a lot of people work from home. So you will need to consider that office space and internet and cell service when looking for a home. Next, let's talk about price point. I get a lot of requests from home buyers who would like to be within walkable distance to the downtown area. So within a 10-minute drive of the city proper, you should expect to pay upwards of $800,000. And while there are many of lovely, moderately priced areas, they are going to be situated within a 20 to 25-minute drive outside of Asheville. These areas are still going to give you a great mountain feel, but are just going to be a lot easier on the pocketbook. Just keep in mind that the closer that you get to the city center, you're going to need to up your price point, and do expect the age of the homes to get older as well as you head into more of the historic districts. I hope this clears up some of your misconceptions about moving to the Asheville area. We are a hospitable and welcoming community full of art, culture, wonderful food, and it has been a great place to call home. This is Amy Brown with Selling AVL, and I can't wait to see you in my hometown.